broadcast. And it is an interesting day. We got a lot of things going on. And go ahead and introduce yourself, my friends, to the audience that's watching and listening to us today around the world.
Hey, so how you doing? I'm Darren Smallman, or Des Dare, as my stage name is. And I am an Australian based in Brighton in the UK. And yeah, got a record coming out, so doing press stuff.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So Des,
thanks for having me on.
Tell us a little bit about how you got started doing this music thing, brother.
Oh, I started a long time ago. Basically, the town I grew up in, Geelong in Australia, had quite a big music scene, quite a big rock and punk scene. And lots of bands used to come there and tour. There's lots of bands in the town. There's a really good scene back in the 90s, through the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And I started playing in bands when I was 15 at the pubs around Melbourne and Geelong. And that kind of just went from there, really, as these things do, kind of you build up your friends and mates in the scene, and you end up starting to sort of book tours and put out records and stuff. And before you know it, you've been doing it for 3 decades. And here I am now after having a bit of a break, getting back into playing again. So I stopped for a little while from recording to focus on doing kind of the business side of things for other people. And there's my first kind of venture back into the recording and writing world.
That's awesome. We have got a great guest with us today. He joins us live here on our big broadcast. Des Dare is with us. Tell me a little bit about some of your musical heroes and influences.
Where to start? I think right from an early age, I loved a lot of just kind of quite abrasive and interesting music. So I mean, when we first started getting into stuff, we used to listen to a lot of punk and weird stuff, like early Sonic Youth and Butthole Surfers, and even bands like Leather Nun from Sweden. Kind of experimental rock stuff, and that kind of changed over years, developed. I got quite a broad taste, and kind of like quite a lot of different things across the spectrum. But really generally, the kind of stuff that I really get into as far as kind of performing is really kind of doing quite sort of odd, noisy stuff, which you can probably tell by hearing the record. So yeah, no, it's kind of, I suppose it's kind of what I find most interesting as far as like writing and recording, is kind of trying to produce quite kind of unique sounds around kind of semi-traditional kind of structures. So yeah, it's kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's more simple, easier than that. But yeah, so.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
We have got Des Dare with us today. He joins us live here on our big program. So where do you see yourself taking your music and doing all the things that you're doing this year?
Well, this year I'm getting onto the road. This was really started as a lockdown project. I built a studio. Both me and my wife work from home mainly anyway, but during the lockdown, we were definitely at home all the time, and I had the time to build a kind of home studio. I've done a lot of sound engineering and recording over the years, so I kind of started putting together my own place. But I haven't really gone around and doing much in the way of shows. So I've done a handful of shows over here with this project, and I've just been getting everything prepared to tour. I've got an EP coming out just after the album, and I'll be touring for that. So I'll be doing a UK tour, and hopefully I'll be doing doing Europe.
That's awesome.
And the US after that. Kind of plans are kind of being kind of put. Sorry, mate?
No. I just was agreeing with you. I'm
Yeah. So I think I've got like plans in place for getting plans in place for kind of further afield. But the UK tour to start with is kind of what's happening. It's kind of a funny one because I'm doing it all by myself, so I'm kind of having to prepare everything. So I work with like kind of the laptop and a massive pedal board and noise boxes, and I've got projections. So I've been kind of just trying to get the show together. So it's a lot harder than doing it that way. A lot more time consuming doing it that way than having a band.
Des Dare with us today, joins us live here on our big broadcast. Just amazing stuff. So Ulysses Trash, tell us a little bit about this.
Well, Ulysses Trash is the last record. This next record is Perseus War.
Okay.
which is following the same threads. But it's kind of, I suppose, a lot of I have quite an interest in kind of psychology and theology and all sorts of different things, and societal kind of the way the society works and the way minds work, and a lot of the things I like sort of sing about, I suppose, is kind of sort of society and the way humans deal with situations. So I suppose Ulysses Trash was kind of about the way kind of modern, in general, as a piece, was about kind of modern leadership and modern society, and how it kind of works as far as digital media is concerned, and how it is controlled by that kind of scope of things. And Perseus War has come from a slightly different angle around the same topics, looking kind of more at the violent side of society and the world, and how that kind of comes through. And we're heading through into more existential realms within the lyrics for the next album, but that's for another time.
So how does this album compare to the latest one, this Perseus War?
The recording's better because I've been doing more of that, so that's a good thing. It's I'd say it's noisier than the last record. It's a little more cohesive. I suppose one of the problems with doing everything yourself in the studio and not doing much in the way of gigs is you don't kind of work out your sound as fast as what other bands might. So I think now, with the third album coming up, I've kind of honed things quite a lot. So it definitely sounds, I think, a lot more like the way I'm heading and the way Des Dare should sound.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Perseus War is the latest from Des Dare, and he joins us live here on our big broadcast. So take me through your writing process to bring Perseus War to life.
Well, it's kind of quite opposite to what I'm used to. I mean, like in the past, like a lot of bands, you would kind of have ideas, you might demo ideas, and then you'd bring them into the rehearsal room, gigs, and then kind of studio at the last point. It's kind of totally on its head this way around. I play everything myself and record everything. And basically I start basically by collecting ideas on my phone, and start piecing together a structure for a release. And then I start just mapping things out in my studio. So I'm really starting at the bottom and working outwards. So I don't really necessarily even know what it's going to sound like in the end. I have an idea in my head of kind of the direction, but I kind of starting with drums and bass and some basic sounds, and then moving through all the noise tracks and vocals and stuff. It's not really to the end that I kind of get the full understanding of where it's going. And that's also going to make it interesting for live as well, because I'm having to nearly like reverse engineer how to play everything I'm doing, because I've never played it live before, so I have to go back and learn how to play songs. So yeah, no, it's quite an interesting way of doing it. I quite like it because it has less boundaries around what things can end up sounding like, and you can maybe sometimes go off on a tangent that you might not have done if you were kind of stuck in a usual structure of writing.
That's awesome. Well, we are going to do this. We are going to play a track off of your off your latest collection here. We're going to place you on a brief hold. We're going to play the track, then we're going to come back and talk about it. And cool. We have got Des Dare with us today. He joins us live, and we are going to take a brief time out. And it is going to be a chimp, a tricycle, and the New World Order. Continuing our NWO theme here on the Sunday radio broadcast.
I got my
That is a chimp, a tricycle, and the New World Order. And we are going to go back live to Des Dare. He is going to join us back live here with Des Dare. And he is fantastic. And that song is pretty damn amazing. It is a tricycle, a chimp, and the New World Order. Maybe I got those in reverse. But tell us about
that's perfectly good.
Tell us about the beat. Tell us about the whole song. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that kind of came about quite quickly. That track it wasn't particularly planned out. It came together quite well in the end. I know I'd like one or two songs usually, either very short songs or quite long jammy songs. And that was one of the long jammy songs. Yeah, I suppose what it's about is it's really kind of about the differences between people, really. I suppose there's a lot of talk these days about how different everyone is, especially when it comes to things like, sort of gender and things like autism and stuff like that. And, I mean, really, I think that people spend too much time thinking about how different everyone is, and that you should really just not bother. Just have a good time. Everyone's having a good time. Don't worry about it.
That ought to be on a T-shirt, baby. I think everybody should just should stop thinking about how different everybody is and just not bother. That is amazing. Yeah. I love
just
that.
Go to the pub, have a pint, have a good time.
Have a good time. We have got a great guest with us today. Des Dare is with us. He joins us live here via the magic of the old Skip Skype. Yes, the Skype-a-rooney. And he is with us today here on 990 WBOB out there in Rhode Island, of all places. And, of course, your good friends of the Mix on Tuesdays. And you can find us twitching on the Twitch each and every Sunday over there at JiggyJaguar.com. Also live video as well. And the mic.fun, THEMIC.FUN for video and audio of this broadcast. And today, Des Dare with Perseus War. And he joins us live here on our big broadcast. You can get more information on his incredible website, DEZDARE.com. That's DesDare.com. And he is absolutely amazing. So one of the things that you're going to be doing a tour. Talk to me a little bit about this tour that you're going to be on.
We're going to be doing, me and a band from Italy called BBC will be doing about 6 dates across the UK in May.
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll just be doing what you do. I'll be on the train with my loads of gear, carting around from town to town,
I'll be on the train
living as cheaply as possible. It's a hard time for bands touring, so it's quite lucky to be able to do it, to be honest. I think a lot of bands, it's quite hard for a lot of bands to get out there, so it's quite good we're able to do it. But yeah, kind of just trying to get out there, really. As I said, I mean, we haven't really been doing anything over the last few years, so it's good to get out there and start seeing some people come see and play.
When you go and jump off the good foot and do the bad thing with the music, and you mentioned you're on the train with loads of gear. How in the world do you pack or load the train for this stuff?
I have got it quite well worked out. I have a little tweaking to still do.
Okay.
But between a guitar case, my pedal bag case, and a backpack, I can carry all my gear, apart from amps, which I have to borrow. But I can carry everything else. It is very heavy and very boring, but I don't really want to drive. I really hate driving, so train it is.
That's awesome. I think it's great that you're making it work and making it happen. Des Dare with us today. He joins us live here on our big broadcast. And he has got some incredible music, and he joins us here on our program. So what's been the reaction to the new music so far from people that have heard it?
Yeah, it's been really positive. I think everything kind of stepped up a bit with the last record. But I think with this new record, there's everyone who's heard it so far has really been getting into it. It's always a bit mixed. I think with the sort of stuff that I do, it's not for everyone. Let's put it that way. So I
It's
mean,
not
there's
for
definitely some people who
everyone.
kind of
That is awesome that you describe your music as, it's not for everyone. I think that's great. It is a great guest with us today. He joins us live here on our big broadcast. Des Dare is with us. And he joins us here on our big program. And you can join us each and every week over there at 990 WBOB out there in Rhode Island. You can also find us, the mix on Tuesdays. Des Dare was having a little bit of a hiccup there with Skype. He'll chime back in, as they say. Live videos on our website, of course, JiggyJaguar.com. You can find us each and every Sunday over there at 990 WBOB. And Des Dare back with us here on our big program. I think it's great that you're so open and you're so honest with everything. You are fantastic. So with this new record and putting it out there, what are some of your goals or expectations for this new album?
I've been around for long enough not to have much in the way of expectations or goals. Look, I think like anyone who creates any form of art for long enough, it's just great to still be doing it. I think the goal this year is to like every year get out as much music as I can, and I'm pretty quick at writing and recording. So I've done 3 albums in the last just over 2 years, not to mention EPs. So I can do that fast. I suppose the one thing that I have lagged with is getting out on the road. So really getting out these next few releases and getting out on the road and playing in front of some people is kind of the main thing. Fantastic. If I can get that done, which I'm starting to plan for, all good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's great. So, when you put your music together and put it down on paper and do all this stuff, what is your writing process like?
I'll try and keep it quite loose, really. I mean, I always have an idea in my head about what things are going to be about. I mean, every kind of album has the thread. There's a thread running through the releases at the moment. Might not stay that way, but these 2 albums and the next album have got kind of a thread running through them. I'll just try and be as creative as possible and as loose as possible. I'm pretty loose anyway when it comes to stuff, so I'm a bit sloppier player. So it's I'm trying to sort of keep keeping that sort of feel and vibe and sort of try and write in that way. So yeah, just try and keep it poetic, try and keep it interesting.
That's awesome. Well, you are amazing. Des Dare with us today. He joins us live. So, Des, as wrap up here with you, my friend, how do we get in touch with you online? Social media, the websites, everything.
Yep, that's the best way. Everything's fed from the website. So if you go to desdare.com, everything goes from there. You can go and pre-order, and you can pre-save to all the streaming services via my link, by my Linktree account. But that's all accessible from desdare.com. And go to Bandcamp if you want to get things earlier, because I tend to put stuff up earlier through there. So go there, have a listen, have a look, see what you think.
Fantastic. Well, Des Dare,